Samin is getting her blood pressure checked, a regular routine since being injected with 2 doses of a COVID-19 vaccine back in August. Originally from India, Samin lives in the UAE and is one of 31,000 volunteers from more than 120 nationalities taking part in phase 3 trials of a vaccine being developed by China's state-owned pharmaceutical firm Sinopharm.
I saw my father work as a frontline worker. That just motivated me to help them in any way I could. I've seen him and his colleagues work non-stop and relentlessly towards what they're doing over here. And I think that if I could be just a tiny part of what they're doing, it would help humanity in some way.
36.6, no fever, ma'am.
Mihaela is Romanian and has been living in the UAE for 17 years. She says she decided to participate after she lost her job in aviation during the pandemic.
I wasn't afraid after I considered the possible side effects. I know the first 2 phases of the trial were successful, and considering this, I decided I can go ahead and do the vaccine trial for phase 3.
I got the reassurance that this vaccine is really safe.
Dr. Jamal Al-Kabi is Undersecretary at the Department of Health in Abu Dhabi. He was one of the first to volunteer back when the trial began, in an effort, he says, to encourage others.
From medical perspective, having such great mix of population and demographics is really a critical requirement to warrant the robustness of the research and result itself.
He explains this is a double-blinded study testing 2 vaccine strains and a placebo. Volunteers received 2 jabs, 3 weeks apart. And what will success look like, Dr. Kabi?
If we develop the immunity for those who are in the trials, and we are talking about 4-fold increase in their immunity, and then at the same time, if they are exposed to the virus, will this vaccine protect them or not? This is the $1 million question.
In terms of safety, he says, so far, so good. And he says preliminary results have shown no major side effects.
The question is, how effective is this vaccine?
And that, of course, is the million-dollar question. And getting an answer couldn't be more important to the authorities here. The UAE has one of the highest per capita testing rates in the world. But it's clear COVID-19 won't be defeated until there's a vaccine. And despite a mask mandate in public places in Abu Dhabi and strict quarantine guidelines for people travelling here, the spread of the pandemic around the globe has not spared this small country of just less than 10 million. It's seen a surge in new cases in the past 2 months. While results are still pending for the phase 3 trials, recently UAE leadership granted emergency approval for its use. Since then, Dr. Al-Kabi tells me, the vaccine has been taken by some 27,000 people. When do you genuinely believe a vaccine will be available for wide distribution here in the UAE and elsewhere?
I think by the end of this year, we have the answer for this type of vaccine that we are using from Sinofarm to tell us exactly if this is the vaccine or not. So I'm expecting next year we will develop a lot of vaccine. We are talking about 75 million doses to 100 million doses.
Until then, for the volunteers, it's all about avoiding complacency.
I don't think it's safe to lower my guard just yet or to not wear the mask or not sanitize my hands. So I'm still sanitizing my hands, still wearing the mask because we are all going through this together.
Becky Anderson, CNN, Abu Dhabi.